Tim, welcome to BetMGM Tonight. Straight away, earlier today, the Rashee Rice news broke. He received 30 days of jail time and 5 years of probation. That's what I want to get out. Stemming from a 2024 multi-car crash in Dallas. As ESPN's Adam Schefter reported, expectations are he'll serve a suspension this season. We don't know how many games he's going to get. So I ask you the question, how many games do you feel he is going to get? And what is the contingency plan with him out?
All right. Hey, guys, it's great to be on with you. Obviously, a tough situation for our wide receiver, Rashee Rice, happened today. You got to pay your dues, make bad mistakes. And, like you said, he's got 5 years probation. He's got to serve 30 days of jail in those 5 years. Plus, he's got a little hefty fine / paying off some of the people that were injured over $1 million. So pretty expensive afternoon for Rashee Rice. And listen, the point of emphasis for the Kansas City Chiefs this whole offseason leading into camp next week is to find a way to make some big plays down the field. The point of emphasis are the chunk plays from the Kansas City Chiefs, as Marty Schottenheimer used to say. Rashee Rice being out, the over-under, I believe, is 4. I'm going to go with, let's say 5, because I'm going to say 4 games he's going to be suspended. So if the under-over is 5, I'm taking the under. But, those 4 games are going to be tough because, listen, he's a big-time weapon for the Kansas City Chiefs. Xavier Worthy came into his own last year. He just admitted that the first 8 games of the year, he wasn't quite sure what he was doing out there on offense. So you got a guy like Rashee Rice, who we'll see how long he's out. Xavier Worthy is going to be a formidable wide receiver. Hollywood Brown, if he could stay healthy, is going to be great, and Smith-Schuster. So I like their wide receiver room, but it's in flux because you just never know what's going to happen with the Rashee Rice situation. But the one thing you do know, everybody out there, is Patrick Mahomes has made it a point of emphasis that he wants to get the ball down the field this year. His stats last year, quite frankly, sucked.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, listen, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he was not happy with the production he had down the field last year.
Yeah, that's kind of was going to be my question was this last season, Mahomes really, as far as statistically, put up just about career lows just about everywhere, right? Even that average pass was under 7 yards. That seems like a quarterback on the downside of his career. Now we know that's not what Mahomes is because obviously the situation was different. I guess the question I'm asking is this team, when the Chiefs, through the first part of their dynasty, it was carried by like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and their offense. More recently, it seems like this team is being led by its defense. Does that continue this year? Or, outside of the Rice news, do you think that Mahomes is going to get his wish and be back over, 4,000, 4,500 passing yards?
Yeah, I mean, that's his wish. And so, listen, the Chiefs this whole offseason have been talking about, bringing in some offensive linemen and Josh Simmons, and they brought in Taylor Moore. Taylor Moore. He came in from San Francisco. So they tried to solidify that offensive line. They said the left tackle was a revolving issue last year. They had some major issues with giving Patrick Mahomes some time. And if you can't give a quarterback time, you can't get the ball down the field. And the last thing you want to happen is Patrick Mahomes to get hit and get hurt. So he was just getting rid of the ball. And Andy Reid, he's like, listen, we're just going to get the ball out and see if our playmakers can make some plays on the edges. They really never threatened it down the field last year. And then the other thing we talked about, 2 years ago, Rashee Rice was a rookie wide receiver. In Andy Reid's offenses, it takes some time for those receivers to get an idea of what they're doing and get on the same page in the chemistry with a quarterback. It's just it's a tough offense. So 2 years ago, Rashee Rice came into his own in Las Vegas against the Raiders about week 10. Xavier Worthy came out this offseason and said, listen, I always having issues with knowing what I was doing or where to go for the first 9 weeks of the season. So the 2 best receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs over the last, I'm talking about receivers, obviously not including Travis Kelce, but the 2 best receivers were young guys that weren't quite on the same page chemistry-wise with Patrick Mahomes. So this year, at least, Xavier Worthy's going to have an idea of what he's going to have to do and how to do it. Rashee Rice, we'll see how long he's out, but Rashee Rice, if he can get those guys on the field with Hollywood Brown and stay healthy, they can get the ball down the field. And Travis Kelce's just going to be a piece this year, I believe. 5, 6, 7 catches. He's going to draw some attention. He always does. The safety may be coming up and bracketing him a little bit early in the season, so that should open some things up. But, yeah, Patrick Mahomes has said, listen, he wants to get the ball down the field. And I think there's a lot of gas left in his tank. But in the reality, he just didn't have the weapons around him over the last couple of years to make those big plays down the field.
Good stuff. You mentioned Travis Kelce. Is this it for him?
Yeah, I think so. I was to be really honest, surprised he came back this year. But I think he wanted to have a swan song and kind of go through the year of retirement, and he well deserves that. I think it is his last year. I think there's a bright future in Travis Kelce, whatever he wants to do, whether it's in entertainment or whether it's in movies or whatever the heck he wants to do. There's a bright future for him. And he's slowed down. Listen, when you guys know, when you turn 30, 31, 32 years old, all those little aches and pains, they just start to add up. And it looked like last year, he was a little bit heavier last year. Had lost a little bit of weight coming into this camp. So we'll see if that helps out a little bit. But, the pain and injuries have caught up to Travis, and he's out there gutting it out. But I'd be surprised if he goes past this year.
Yeah, right now, Travis Kelce, just 4.5 receiving touchdowns, a prop available at BetMGM. And his swan song, I kind of like the over on that. I still think he's going to catch at least 5 end zone strikes off the hand of Patrick Mahomes. We're talking to Tim Grunhard right now, all Kansas City Chiefs all the time. He is a member of the Chiefs Hall of Fame class of 2021 and also a radio analyst for Kansas City in that organization. Follow him on X, would you kindly, at Grunny61. Again, on X, at Grunny61. Tim, last season, Kansas City had a largely backfield that was a patchwork. Kareem Hunt was decent at times in his second tour of duty with the franchise, but he was no world beater. Andy Reid has spoken highly of Isiah Pacheco this summer. What do you believe the distribution of touches is going to be in this backfield? And do you see Pacheco getting back to what he showed in 2023, in which he was a top 15 fantasy running back? So are you buying a revival for Isiah Pacheco, and how many touches per game do you see him getting?
Yeah, he got hurt pretty early in the season and tried to gut it out and then got banged up again. So, yeah, as long as he stays healthy, I think he could put up some good numbers. I think you're going to see Kareem Hunt more as a third down back and maybe a back, in goal line situations. So if you're a fantasy guy, Pacheco's going to get you some yards, but I think that Kareem Hunt's going to be the guy that's going to have more touchdowns. Pound for pound inside the 5-yard line, they're going to give him the ball. But Pacheco, he's got great explosion. He runs angry. He's one of those guys that just really plays physical, plays hard, plays tough. But you guys know as well as I do, once you get banged up and you get a little aches, pains, and your ribs are sore and your ankles are sore and your knees are sore, it's hard to do that. So last year he was a shell of himself. He really was. I think he tried to gut it out. He's a tough Jersey guy. He tried to gut it out, just couldn't pull it off. Hopefully this year he can stay healthy and get back to where he was at. I mean, this is a guy who was drafted in the 7th round and came in and took the NFL by storm. And I really think he can do that if he can stay healthy again. But once again, I'm kind of circling back to the original point, is the Chiefs want to get the ball down the field. So we'll see. Listen, this whole cover 2 shell stuff everybody's been talking about, how it's been slowing down the Chiefs offense. You looked last year, they weren't even running that anymore. They were bringing the safeties up and they were trying to stop the running game because they weren't worried about the pass down the field. So if the Chiefs could throw the ball down the field and make some plays down the field, that might open up some room for Pacheco and the running backs to be able to, get some good production. So, it's a catch-22. You want to throw the ball down the field, you want to make those big plays, but yet you still have to have that little bit of a running game. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the Chiefs are going to put up some points this year. I'm excited about the Chiefs offense this year. I think Patrick Mahomes has got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's playing pissed. And, anytime you get Patrick Mahomes in that kind of situation, Katie bar the door, man. That guy's going to come out flying.
Yeah, the over-under right now on Patrick Mahomes with BetMGM for passing touchdowns this season, only 27.5. I would windmill slam dunk the over. I think he's going to have at least 30 passing TDs this year, especially behind that stout offensive line, which should be one of the best in the NFL. Pass blocking, run blocking efficiency. Hey, Tim, we'll get you out of here on this. Over or under 11.5 wins for this franchise. Which was really in bed with Lady Luck last year. They won so many games by 8 points or fewer. Is it going to be the story yet again? Or, do you see this team taking a step back or really racking up the W? So 11.5 is the over under on wins right now on BetMGM.
Well, I got my BetMGM app and I already bet the over. So I'm going to have to go with my gut. I think they're going to win 13 games this year. Last year, you're right. I mean, he's starting from the first game against Baltimore when I forget the wide receiver, but he was about a half a foot out of bounds, or maybe a half a toe out of bounds. And then the rest of the season kind of fell in the line with that. But I think the Chiefs are going to be more productive on the offensive side. They may drop off a little bit on the defensive side. I don't think they're going to win 15, 16 games like they did last year, but I think they'll be over 11.5. I'm going with 13.
All right, you're expecting another big year for the Kansas City Chiefs, and, well, it only makes sense when you have Patrick Mahomes running the show. Tim Grunhard, we appreciate the time. Kansas City Chiefs Hall of Fame class of 2021, Chiefs radio analyst, and follow him on X, where he's always giving it to you there, at Grunny61. Tim, safe travels, my guy, and we shall talk soon. Real football right around the corner. Can't wait.
It's here, guys. It's going to be great, and looking forward to visiting you during the season. Love your show.
Thank you, Tim. And again, we appreciate the 2 cents on everything Kansas City. Let me go and bring in Corey right now. Corey, he's emphatic. And he's dunking Dominic Wilkins old school style with a windmill on the over 11.5 wins for this team. Again, man, they were so fortunate winning so many games by a single possession, seemingly in the final 2 minutes. It was just rinse and repeat, week in and week out. Do you see Kansas City sailing past 11.5 wins? Do you see them taking a step back, or are they going to be right there at that number? What do you say?
They're probably going to be a 12, 13 win team. When you look at the schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs this year, their schedule as it stands now. I was talking with B. Diddy last night, right? And we look at and we try to project what's going to happen in the season and, strength of schedule and stuff like that. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. Injuries and things like that take place, and teams emerge and teams step back. But if you look at the way the schedule sets up now for the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, they got the Giants on their schedule. They got Jacksonville on their schedule. They got Houston, Team Tennessee's on this schedule this year. So it's like they have the blessing of having a situation to where they're not playing one of the tougher schedules. Now, they do have elite teams like Baltimore and Buffalo and Philadelphia on their schedule, but kind of in some of them dry spots, they kind of got lucky. They should be able to get to it, but it's going to happen. Here's the deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Are they going to be in the AFC Championship game again this year?
Well, yeah, that's the $64,000 question. We're going to find out. I hope not, because I'm honestly sick of that narrative, and I'm pulling for the Ravens, and I'm pulling for the Bills.